Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Pot of Gold podcast, where everyday people share the journey of chasing freedom, building wealth, and designing a life on their own terms. Today's guest is a shining example of just that. We're joined by Jenna Furch, a mother of 2 toddlers who spent the last 9 years in the tech world before making a bold move and moving to real estate full-time. And in just 6 weeks, she not only closed her first deal, she got paid. Now she runs J3 Creative Consulting, where she bridges the gap between borrowers and lenders in real estate with one guiding principle: protect the lender. If you've ever wondered how to juggle parenting, pivot from a 9 to 5, and launch something of your own, this episode is for you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Jenna.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Well, definitely the pleasure is mine, and I'm excited to hear about your story. Usually the first thing that I ask people when they get on the show is, why did you decide to go into real estate? It sounds like you had a pretty good thing going with your tech stuff.
Yeah, I did. Tech is a pretty fun world to be in, but it's also a pretty volatile world to be in. So, I mean, the opportunity is great. You can get raises left and right, and then as soon as things shift or the next thing comes out with AI or something, they do a slew of layoffs, or if sales aren't going well, they do those as well. So it was volatile. Although my success was great in tech, I did get laid off twice. And so I was just like, I've always wanted to do real estate. Funny enough, if you had asked me when I was a little kid what I wanted to be when I grew up, I didn't say, a firefighter or a princess or whatever, little kids are saying nowadays. My dad had put this thought into my mind. He was always saying, "Oh, you're so good at talking to people. You're going to be a real estate broker." And so for some reason, I held on to that. I said, I want to be a real estate broker. And you know what? Even as I was getting started, I didn't even know what a real estate broker was for a really long time. And so I just told people that's what I wanted to do. But it's just so funny, how things come full circle. And now that's essentially what I do is I help broker deals and make sure they happen. So, and it's been wonderful. I love it so much. So it's funny that as a little kid, I was saying that,
Yeah, that is really funny. I think when I was a kid, I wanted to be a paleontologist until my parents had me dig a big trench for laying some plumbing. And I realized that I do not like digging holes. And so that kind of killed that aspiration at the time. But hopefully it doesn't come around to bite me eventually.
You're going to be trenching sprinklers in your yard or something, and then it's going to come full circle for you.
Yeah. So, no, it's good stuff. I don't know why life tends to lead us in the directions it does sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it just kind of drags us along. But the thing that I've found that's been really cool about entrepreneurship is that you actually get to kind of design the life that you want and go after the things that you're looking to do yourself.
Yeah, it's fun. I actually, so when I was looking at real estate, I started off looking at fix and flipping. And then from there, I was really struggling of like, okay, I want to do a fix and flip project, but how do I fund it? And someone told me, one of my best friend, actually, she came to me and she told me that she had joined this program. It was Pace Morby's Gator program. And she told me about how it's figuring out the funding part of real estate investments. And I'm like, well, that's what I need. I keep getting stuck on starting a flip because I can't figure out the funding portion of it. So I'm like, if that's what I need, I'm sure I could help other people who need that as well. And I got into it and realized like, oh, I just love this so much. Like, it's been really good for me helping people get the funding that they need so that they can do their projects. They can fulfill their investment dreams. And it's just going to lead to bigger and better things for everyone involved.
Oh yeah, that's been the best thing about real estate is I've realized how interconnected it all is. And then in order to win, you have to pay as part of a team, which is not quite the same mentality you'd be if you're going in, say, just a startup where you're providing a service or, I mean, I guess it's possible that that's the case with other types of business models as well. It's just not something I really recognized when looking at them from the outside, if that makes any sense.
The team aspect especially is just like, is absolutely the key to everything. Anyone I see who's trying to do this alone, that things are really slow for them. They maybe still don't even have their first deal, but they've been in it for 2 years. It's like, where's your team? Who's supporting you? And something that I love that Pace Morby actually said once that really I clung to is he was like, there's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. Think of any dollar that was ever made, and you weren't the only person involved to make that happen. There's somebody else on the other side of the transaction. There's somebody else who helped you do every single part of that process. So even though maybe you did a lot of work, but nothing is self-made. Like there's a team, there's people involved in everything. And the more you understand that and the more you facilitate that, like bring people in, help them out, and it helps everybody. Like the team is so essential.
No, I think you're exactly right about that. I think he goes along the lines of no dollar you've ever made didn't have another person involved. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of contrary to the things that I believed for a very long time, because I was always taught, be self-sufficient. Make sure that you can do things on your own. Don't have to ask help from other people, because if you do that, well, then you're not self-sufficient. You're being dependent or codependent. Mm-hmm. And it took some mindset shifts to be able to realize, okay, that doesn't mean that I'm incapable if I'm relying on other people. It just means that I'm providing them with opportunities to earn money too. Yeah. And once I was able to kind of shift that, things started to change, because now I can offer opportunities to other people, and they want to work with me because I'm giving them an opportunity.
Yeah. The more you're trying to help other people, the more that comes around and helps you too. Right. So absolutely. Yeah. If you're not offering to help other people or involve other people, like if you're scared that bringing other people on is going to take away from what you're gaining out of it, then you're coming from a scarcity mindset instead of an abundance mindset. And you definitely need an abundance mindset to be a successful entrepreneur, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And it's incredible. One of the things that I realized when I first started was we came into the Salt Lake Valley, and I just saw all those houses all across the valley. And for some reason that day was different. And I realized that every one of those houses represented a whole bunch of money. And like all of a sudden, it was way more prevalent and abundant than I thought it was. It was just a perspective shift.
Yeah.
There's tons of money out there.
I don't know if you feel the same, but when you see all those houses, sometimes you might think like, oh, I have to have the money to buy all those houses myself or something, right? But there's so many different ways to get involved in real estate that until like when you start diving into it, like you don't have to be the person who has the money. You don't have to be the person who has the house. There's so many ways to get involved, whether it's, you have time to help a team, make phone calls, or you found a deal, or somebody who is struggling and needs help, and they can't afford their home anymore. There's so many ways to get involved in real estate that you see all those houses and a light bulb goes off in one way, but there could be 30 other people looking at those houses and they can make money on the same house in just a slightly different way. So the abundance, there's so many ways to get involved.
Well, I think Pace was talking about how it's like something like 17 different people are able to make money on a single real estate transaction because of the different responsibilities that are involved. Yeah. And I think for me, the most recent thing that I did was I helped raise some capital for somebody, and they paid me a small portion of the capital that I raised because I helped them find the money that they needed to fund their flip. Yep. And so I'd like to ask you about this thing that we talked about during your introduction, where you did your first deal and you got paid back on it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was like I had joined the Gator program back in November. This is Pace Morby's Gator Method program. And like I said, that's the program that helps you understand how you finance a deal, right? And I had some money in savings. I went to my first in-person meetup. And this is where I'm like, the team is essential. Please, like if anything, go find people to work with. So I went to my first in-person meetup since joining the program. And I was so excited. And I was asking around, I'm like, hey, I'm looking for somebody who's in lending, who's in the money side of these real estate transactions. And so Becca, actually, you've interviewed her, I think, before. Becca Brown, love her. She pointed out someone in the room and said, hey, they're doing lending. His name was Paul Brown. And so I went over to him and I hung out with him, and somebody else was talking to him, and I just stayed and I said, listen, I have some finances. I've got like savings. I've got probably 10 to 20K to put into a deal. And he was like, you know what? if you've got 10 to 20K, really you're saying you've got 10. So let's go with the safer side of things. Like, thank you so much. That was a brilliant idea. So anyway, he's like, I do have a deal that I could put you into if you want to put your 10 grand into it. And I was like, sweet. So I followed up with him. We funded that deal within a few days. And yeah, it was supposed to be a 90-day loan to a fix and flipper out in Texas who needed some funds. And so we lent our money out to him. And he ended up paying us back in 25 days instead of 90 days. So it was a great way. I'm not saying all deals happen that way. It was definitely a like serendipitous moments when everything just came together so beautifully. And I recorded a podcast episode also on the Get Creative podcast on that one if you want to know more about that deal specifically. But it was beautiful. Yeah, I funded it. So within 6 weeks of being in Gator, I had already gotten paid out on my first deal, and it was awesome.
That's amazing. I like stories like that.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And it's been cool for me when I've done similar deals because then I get to see the people that are doing their flips, right? They turn around and they make their profit. And for the first deal that I did, it was a young father of four. And it happened just before Christmas that he was able to sell that house. And so because I lent him money to do his project, he was able to give his kids a really cool Christmas.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just such a cool thing. I was like, wow, I really like that. And so we look for more opportunities to be able to help people because the people that we're lending the money to, they're normal people like us too. They probably have W-2 jobs or they're just getting started and they're just looking to learn how to do the business.
Yeah. Or even if they've been doing the business and they're grinding, like it's a grind being an entrepreneur, like you never know. So when you get to be part of any of those deals, like you're a part of their success and they're a part of your success. And it really is a beautiful transaction between everybody.
Yeah, it's a really cool feeling too. I really liked it myself. So we're doing another one, my brother-in-law and we're helping with another flip and we're just going to keep doing these. I'm sure at some point we're going to make a mistake somewhere along the way and we're going to lose some money somewhere, but that's the price of learning how to do it.
Yeah.
And we can try to avoid the mistakes as much as we can, but there's going to be those inevitably. But on that topic, I'm kind of curious. You mentioned that you were struggling to understand the financing side of things. Did you have any other problems along the way as you've tried to get started with your business?
Yeah, definitely. Real estate in general and anyone who's in it is a fun roller coaster. You have to be in it for the ups and downs, and in the downs you have to know that there is an upside, right? And you just got to keep pushing forward. Because if you let it get to you, like it's definitely you have to have the mindset to pursue through the hard times. And so, yeah, at first I wanted to do fix and flips, couldn't figure out the money. And then I realized that there's this thing called gap lending that I had never heard of. Because when you're starting to do fix and flips, what you hear, everybody tells you, you go get a hard money lender, and then they'll give you those funds, and then you bring your own funds to the table. Well, I mean, I was struggling with because the real estate market here in Utah is really expensive to get into. Like an entry level home is like $500K, right? So you have to be prepared with 50 to 60 grand just to come to the closing table on your entry level home. And if that, you might even need more than that, actually. It could be up to 100K that you need. So I didn't know. Nobody was telling me about this thing called gap funding or a bridge loan or whatever, like something that allows somebody else or private funds to go into second position and be involved in that investment with you. Yes, you have to give some profits back to them, but you actually get to get into a deal. Right. And so that's what I did for that fix and flipper that I did my first lend on. I sent $10,000 over and they were able to finish up their project because they were short. You know, it was 17 grand, but I partnered with somebody who put the rest in. And they were short 17 grand and we helped invest in that. We put a loan on the property in second position that allowed him to do that. And because of that, he was able to finish the project. So no one had explained that to me. And so getting involved in the money side was just like eye-opening of like, there are so many different ways to skin a cat or to close a deal. You know, there's so many different ways to get the funding for it. And I just didn't know. But along with that is also like don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? And so that's the other struggle I think I've found is like you're like, oh, it's gonna close. Closing dates to me now are they're an exciting thing, but I definitely do not get excited about them until money actually moves.
Mm,
Because in real estate, the ups and downs, like I was saying, like you could think something's closing and then the paperwork's not done, or the paperwork was done, but now it contradicts another piece of paper. Paperwork is my favorite part of real estate. And so just like the moving of the money is actually the easy part. Like sending the money is like the easy part, right? Getting the paperwork and making sure everyone's on the same page is the hard part. And that doesn't always happen by your closing day. So that closing day moves a lot more than you think. Like at
mm,
first, when you get into real estate, you're like, the closing date is the closing date. This is your deadline. But it moves so much. And I think that was another learning curve for me that has been really difficult. Or even if your closing date is tomorrow, the deal can still fall apart. And so that's been a struggle for me to like one of my biggest learning curves getting into this is like closing dates are exciting, but not as exciting as you think because it's not actually like set in stone.
yeah, kind of a moving target a little bit. But I don't know, it's kind of like when you set a goal, and you give yourself a deadline so you can get to the goal. Um, the deadline and your goal might shift around a bit because you didn't quite reach it, and then you just keep working at it. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean you can't give up on your goal
Yeah.
completely just because you didn't hit the deadline.
Yeah, you got to
But
be flexible and adaptable, and that's I would say if like there's difficulties in real estate, it's you have to be flexible and adaptable. Like, and there's gonna be those downs. Like the closing date will change. The closing date might fall through altogether, but you keep pushing forward and you keep helping the next person and the next person, and it all works out eventually. You're going, but it's sometimes two steps back, and that's the difficulty in real estate, in my opinion.
yeah, no doubt. I think that everybody has their own journey. You're going to learn different lessons along the way, and some things that people struggle with, you won't, and vice versa.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the beauty of it is that it's your journey, not someone else's.
Yeah, you take control as long as you're still working at it. Like one of my philosophies is just be there, just keep showing up, like just keep doing those tasks. It's working out. It's might be slower than you expected, but you look back on where you started and it's significantly far away at that point. So yeah, I love it though.
That's awesome. Well, what do you think the future looks like for you and your business?
So I've got two amazing partners right now. Our business, J3 Creative Consulting, we help people fund their deals. We help people who want to invest in real estate invest in good, well vetted deals. And so together we've been working at this for the past 5 or 6 months, and it's taking off more and more. And so we help with residential funding, commercial funding. If you've got really big deals that we're headed that way of doing bigger and bigger deals. We've got some ground up construction projects like all over the world that we're helping with. So if you need financing, like that's what we're doing. That's what our business does, and we absolutely love it. It's all about helping these people achieve what they're trying to in the investment world, and so that's what we're working on as a business, as a company together. So yeah.
So, are you doing the bridge and the gap type loans in the second position? Is that kind of what you're doing, or helping people with their fix and
Yeah,
flips?
kind of all of it actually. We help with all of it. We prefer to help with first positions because it is easier, I've found, on
Oh
the
yeah.
lending side to help with first positions. Um, but if somebody can prove like track record and um, we really look for it's track record and collateral, right? So if you've got track record and collateral, then we have a way to come in and help you with the second positions. But if you've got that, if you've done a few deals, you typically have a property you can use as collateral or something, cross collateral, sorry, to help secure the lender, because we want to make sure people are safe. That's what we're really trying to do. Like invest in real estate and we can't say guarantee safety, right? But take as many precautions as possible. And so by
Hmm.
providing that cross collateral from borrowers, it secures more the funds, because there's another property that's not being flipped in the middle of a flip right now that we can use to secure their funds that they're investing. And so when people want to invest, there's cross collateral involved. When people need funds, if they've got cross collateral, we can help them in second position as well, right? And so plenty of our opportunities that we help with right now are gap loans, like I was mentioning. And so, yeah, we do. We like to get involved and help in any way possible. We do ground up construction, acquisitions, buy and holds if you need that. So any way you're looking to get funding, reach out to us. And if we can't help you, we'll tell you why. Like that's another thing too, is like, don't just say no. Like tell me what I could do to get funding next time, or like get funding on this one. If you're new, the secret is to partner up with somebody who's done it
Yep.
before, right?
Yep.
Like there's always it's like a no to this situation right now, but you could change these things and get the funding, right? Um, and so that's what we like to provide to people for sure.
And there's somebody that I know, her name's Melissa Palmer. She helps do vetting for real estate investors to kind of do like their background checks and make sure that they're honest business owners.
Yeah.
But one of the things that she says that I think is really relevant to this kind of a thing is change your facts, change my answer. And that's important to remember. So like if you change the way the circumstances are going to be presented, well, then the answer gets to be changed. And so
Yeah.
we can kind of play around with things until we find the solution.
Yeah. Exactly. Like if you've got terrible credit and you're like, this is what's stopping me. Well, then on the first couple deals, partner with somebody who's got better credit than you, who wants a piece of
Mm-hmm.
the pie too. Like give up a little sliver now so you can have a bigger piece of the pie later, right? So
Yeah. I think that's an important lesson for everybody to learn is that it's a lot better to play the game over and over again than to try to get one single payout and then never play the game again.
absolutely. Yeah. There's always a way. You just got to be creative, which is the whole world of what Pace Morby teaches and all the people that we're surrounded by here in real estate. Like, be creative. The second you stop being creative is when you start losing because, like, things just, you start hearing no's and you're like, oh, that door closed. I'm done. You don't look around for the other doors.
Well, and you see it in other things as well. Like I remember Blockbuster, they didn't adapt to the fact that the internet came to the scene and the fact that Netflix started streaming or Redbox started giving out videos through their little vending machines, and they didn't adapt. And
Yeah.
so, if they would have adapted, they'd be around still.
Yeah. That's Darwin, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
um, you gotta change. If you're gonna survive, you really gotta change a little bit about who you are. And that's in real estate. There's so many different tactics. If this property doesn't work as a buy and hold, well, it'll work as a flip for now, and then you'll make funds so you can go get a different buy and hold. Like, don't have your heart set on one exit on anything.
yeah,
Really, like you have to have multiple different strategies because the market will shift in a day. The laws will change in a day and you have to shift.
for sure. Uh, Definitely, just kind of the way the life works, though, because there's always going to be problems no matter what you're doing. But at least as an entrepreneur, you get to kind of choose the problems you're wanting to be confronted with. And I really like that about entrepreneurship. I know you talked a little bit about if you are new, one of the good things you can do is partner with somebody who has experience. Do you have
Yeah.
any other recommendations for people that are just getting started? Maybe resources for education or other things that they might be able to do to help them along their path?
Sure, yeah. Facebook groups, podcasts, like go into Facebook, find your local real estate groups that are doing stuff, right? And in those groups, look for the meetups. That's my favorite. Find the meetups. Go meet people in person. It's so much easier. And if you don't do a deal with that person the first time you meet them, like don't worry about it. You're gonna see them 4, 5, 6. Keep showing up to the in-person events. You build that rapport with people and you'll do deals. Like you can't continue to talk about it and be around it and not succeed. Like if you're
Yeah.
constantly putting yourself in a position where everybody else around you is succeeding in it, like you will eventually succeed. You don't even really have to I mean like you have to try, but I'm like you don't even have to try that hard when everybody around you is doing it,
Hmm.
and you're talking about it and you're learning about it. As long as you have to take imperfect action though. I mean, you're the one who said, you might eventually get hurt lending money in real estate, but it'll be an expensive lesson, right? It'll be a lesson that you've learned. but you take imperfect action, like not knowing fully how it's going to work out, but take action. Show up to these events, meet these people, build relationships with the people who are doing it and who are in real estate. And you'll be in real estate. You'll be doing deals before you know it, because that's where it's at. So I guess my number one advice for newbies is you can listen to podcasts. I mean, everybody's listening to podcasts. It's like one of the first steps that you take, right?
Yeah.
And the podcasts are great. But now go in person and meet these people. Get on your local Facebook groups, find out where the events are, and show up. And you just keep showing up. It'll work for you. It really will.
Well, and I think that's excellent advice. There's definitely ups and downs when we're doing things like this. And there were days where I was like, am I just kidding myself? Am I really like fit to be a real estate investor or a business owner? Why am I trying to do all this stuff? It doesn't seem to be moving. And I realized that there's all these people that I'd made as friends. I was like, but if I just gave up, what do I tell all my friends? And it's like, even though I was having down days sometimes, like just being around people that were doing the thing and wanting to continue to interact with them without feeling embarrassed that I was giving up or something, gave me the push that I needed to keep going. And I think that's a beautiful thing to realize that you can actually kind of design the game to win.
Yeah, it's seriously, I feel like there's a study out there, or maybe I just heard it, but I there should be a study to prove this. But just being in the environment of people doing what you're wanting to do, it gives you that much more likelihood of success in what you're trying to do. Like if you want to do flips, find someone who's doing flips and say, can I come see your project? Because just walking that project, it's not your project, but just walking it, asking questions, just being in that environment as much as you can is going to lead to your success. Like like every event you attend, like your percentage of success just keeps going, likelihood of success just keeps going up. And yeah, like I said, if you're there, it's going to work out for you.
Awesome. Well, I think that pretty much sums up most of what I usually do with these interviews. Do you have anything that you would like to offer the audience by any chance?
For people who are just getting started, like I was November 8, 5, 6, 7, 8 months ago, whatever. Anyway, not too long ago, less than a year ago, right? For people who are just getting started, or they've been in it a while and they're like, I just don't know. I'm always happy to jump on a call and talk through what could you do, or even if you could get involved with our team. We've got plenty of people. I met someone last month. It was her second day being in the real world of real estate. She's on our team now.
Awesome.
She's doing it every single day. We're talking and we're looking at deals and we're analyzing things together. And like I'm happy to talk to people who want some guidance, or if you need funding for your project, let me know. You can reach out to me. Or if you want to invest in a project, you have some funds and you're like, I just want to get started. I want to see some sort of success. Let me know. You can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, both of them under Jenna Furch, Jenna, F as in Frank, URCH, right? So Jenna Furch, find me on Instagram or Facebook, reach out. I'm happy to help you. Happy to have a few phone calls. It never hurts to have a conversation.
Definitely. That's amazing. I like the fact that you're able to do that, because not a lot of people who are successful feel like it's a good use of their time to indulge new people. So I just want to give you thanks for that, because I know that that's valuable to new people. And I'll make sure that I include the links to your Instagram and your Facebook in the YouTube description. So if you're in the audience and you'd like to reach out to Jenna to have a conversation, go ahead and find her there. This has been the Pot of Gold podcast, and we talk about real estate, finances, and wealth generation. And before we end the interview, I just want to ask Jenna, is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience before we go?
Be there. If you want to be successful in real estate, or if you're already successful in real estate, continue to be there. It's all going to work out. Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. You all have a wonderful day.